Hello, Happy New Year and welcome back to the Who's Podcast YouTube channel. So, it's a new year and that means new Star Wars content on DisneyPlus, and they kick things off this year with Season 2 of Star Wars, TheBadBatch. I must admit to being a bit sceptical when they first announced they were making a spin-off from the Clone Wars featuring this crew, as I found them in the main to be fairly uninteresting, and derivative really, as they were basically like a computer game, where each team member has a special skill. The strong one, the technical one, the sharpshooter, and so on and so on. However, as the first season went on, I kind of got hooked on them trying to find their way in the galaxy after refusing to execute Order 66, and also find a way to remove the chip from their heads that would ultimately make them serve the Empire. We also met Omega, another clone but rather than an identical copy of Jango Fett created by the Cameonians. Omega is a young girl who goes on the run with the Bad Batch crew. Going back to the end of the first season, the Bad Batch returned to the Kamino cloning facility to find a way to remove their chips, and it ends with the Empire arriving, bombarding Kamino to remove any trace of the cloning program, and now the Empire believes that the Bad Batch are no more. So, we start Season 2 with the first 2 episodes dropping on Disney Plus this week, and we pick up sometime after the events on Kamino, with the Bad Batch and Omega being chased by giant crab creatures while escaping with a cargo of something or other as part of another job that Sid has sent them on. Once we get past this chase and escape scene, we get to the main story where Sid sends the team to Serrano to collect a sizable fortune from under the nose of the Empire. However, this is no ordinary fortune, as this once belonged to Count Dooku, and the Empire are now squirreling away Dooku's ill-gotten war chest. With the group's leader Hunter being reluctant to go, the remainder of the team and Sid convince him that if they pull this off, there will be enough money for them to be truly free and provide themselves with a future hidden from the Empire. Now, this was the main build-up of Episode 1, and Episode 2 continues mainly with the heist that naturally goes wrong and details their escape from Serrano, while Hunter has a sort of change of heart and wants to do more to help fight the Empire rather than run and hide. Also at this point, the Bad Batch are still fighting against their brother clone troopers, and certainly by the end of Episode 2, it's clear that while Order 66 turned the clones against the Jedi, they still maintain their sense of honour and duty. Vice Admiral Rampart, who oversaw the destruction of Kamino, orders Captain Wilco, who was chasing the Bad Batch on Serrano, to falsify a report by removing any mention of the Bad Batch. He doesn't want Moff Tarkin to know that he failed to kill Clone Force 99. Captain Wilco refuses to falsify his report, but he pays the price for his sense of honour as Rampart murders him to ensure that Tarkin does not find out. So, with that little roundup of the plot, is it any good? Well, based on the first 2 episodes of this season, The Bad Batch remains ostensibly child-friendly in its content. This is particularly highlighted in the first episode with the team being chased by giant crabs with no real sense of danger or threat against our heroes. Also, none of the crabs are killed, and also later the Bad Batch only stun the enemy clone troopers, thus ensuring that any kids watching know that the Bad Batch are not killers. Also, one of the team being a child, the main character is setting an example and that there is another way. But this particular aspect, paired with another heist of the week story that was prevalent in the last season, makes it a bit of a boring watch for me. In fact, during the course of both episodes, I was constantly checking my phone. The plot did not grab my attention anyway, in fact I just found it boring. To begin a new season with a formulaic heist story is for me not the way to kick things off. If there is a story arc, which I suspect this season will be the Empire's plans to be rid of their clone army, there was no setup of any arc that I could see across these 2 episodes. And name-dropping Count Dooku, well, does not make up for that. And it's a shame. The animation for the Bad Batch has come a long way since the first few seasons of the Clone Wars, and the beach vistas in particular from Episode 1 look fantastic. The voice acting is also great, with D. Bradley Baker once again voicing Clone Force 99 and all the other assaulted clone troopers, and Michelle Ang is once again voicing Omega. Also, Rhea Perlman is back as Sid, who also provides the mercenary work for the Bad Batch. The action scenes are also good, but as this heist on Serrano was set at night, it was difficult to figure out what was going on at points. Also not helped by me not looking at my phone constantly either. There are 16 episodes in this season, and while it most certainly followed the story of the week formula, I'm hoping that the season arc begins soon, which I'm fairly certain it will. The Clone Wars series was a slow burn for me, and I'm glad I stuck with it as it produced some of the best Star Wars content I've watched. So I'm hoping this season of The Bad Batch will also follow suit. Also, being child friendly does not make it unwatchable for an adult, and I will stick with it as I did enjoy the last series. But for me, some genuine peril needs to be introduced to make it feel like the characters are in danger and to keep the audience on its toes. And yes, I know it's only 2 episodes in, but I also hope they mix up the story of the week approach, as there are only so many times you can watch the Bad Batch pull off yet another heist. So that's it from me. I will be reviewing the remainder of this season over the coming weeks as and when I can. Hopefully this will be on a weekly basis, but knowing me, that plan will go out the window quicker than me saying this sentence.